Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is part 3 of my full deck collection. So that includes oracle cards and tarot cards, all of them in no particular order. I was just picking them up from the shelves that I have. So top shelf, second shelf, bottom shelf, whatever. So I have 3 shelves and so there are 3 parts. There we go. So this is part 3 and let's crack on, right? So there's a combination. I think this part is actually the most varied in the kind of decks that I have to show. Anyway, let's move on. If by any... Okay, hang on one second. So Wisdom of the Oracle, let's start with Colette Baron Reid. Very popular deck, quite known. This is my very first Oracle deck that I ever had. And yeah, I still love it. It is definitely one of my go-to decks. It will always stay with me for sure, now that I have a completely sentimental bond with it as well. And I mean, I just love the art, I love the messages. I do like Colette Baron Reid's work very much. I did have more of her decks, but I actually ended up having just this one now because, I don't know, I just feel mostly drawn to use this one. And all of the decks that I have in my collection are ones that I actually use, so I read with, whether it's just for myself or for others. So that's kind of my criteria of purchasing decks right now, I guess. Just because I don't have that much space and I really want to use them all. Some of them that I use just for myself, I might once incorporate into readings for others with time. If you're interested in any of the decks being reviewed a little bit more in depth by me, then please let me know in the comments. And I'll be happy to do so. I do have a couple, I think, reviews right now. Anyway, the next one is Angel Answers by Radley Valentine. I believe this was originally by Radley Valentine and Doreen Virtue. I got it quite recently when the name has been changed. This is one of the decks that will actually give you straightforward answers. From what I remember, Radley actually said that, you know, he just created this deck at the time of Doreen for that purpose, because many people sometimes just want a straightforward answer. So that was the intention behind this deck, and so I use it for that purpose. Now, of course, depending on the question that you ask, sometimes you definitely can't have a straightforward answer, but if you pull a few cards, it will kind of give you a message almost in a sentence. I don't use it very often, but I do sometimes. This deck, I really like it for the basically for the messages that it has. This is not my style when it comes to artwork, not something that I didn't buy it for that reason. I bought it for the messages pretty much and what the deck brings. But that's just a little info on my personal preference. Okay, next we have the Earth Magic Oracle cards by Stephen D. Farmer. So I've been looking for some earthy deck. Sorry, I keep forgetting to show the backs, but I mean, this one is quite popular as well, so I'm sure you can find many flip throughs and reviews, although I'll be happy to do some, of course. Like I said, if you would like me to do a review on any of the decks, let me know. A bit of a deeper review. I do tend to read the guidebooks. I really like to know the intention of the author behind the deck, and I also like to learn about the author, you know, how they came about to create the deck, what's their background, what knowledge they have, you know, what is their life's work, basically, because a lot of these decks are basically based on someone's life work. And I find it very fascinating, and it gives me information on how to use the deck and what intention was set behind it, so that I can use it within that intention still. But it's also very, I like decks that are very intuitive. You could read intuitively. I don't like a lot of writing on the decks that I buy unless there's just a keyword or unless the deck itself is just a sentence. What is it? You know, a deck that just has a writing on it. I do apologize for the glare, by the way, and my reflection, but it's just, let me maybe try and move it a bit. It's just this time of the day now. Anyway, moving on. Okay, I'm back. I had to draw some curtains back because it was really annoying me that I could see myself, my reflection in the cards. Okay, this actually, I don't have a, oh gosh, will I be able to open it? I don't have the box for this deck. I have no idea where it is, even if I still even have it, but it was a tag box. It was a tag box. This is I bought it at least like 3 years ago now, so it is the angel, oh gosh, see, something with angels, some sort of an angel deck by Diana Cooper. If you type in, you know, angels, Diana Cooper, angel deck, then you'll see this backing. There's a book I think that she also has. And then these are little cards with a message. So these are messages only and affirmations. You have a little instruction card as well. So how to, oh, there we go. Approach the use of the Angel of Light cards. There we go. Angel of Light cards by Diana Cooper. And then she has a few card spreads. So it was just in a very small tag box. You know, so that's the only sort of information on there. I do a lot of work with angels. I'm on the angel team with Kyle Gray, so the angel readings that I offer are basically very much in the way that he teaches, sort of following his code of ethics and all that sort of stuff. So I study angels quite a bit, hence I have quite a lot of angel decks. If you wish to win a free private sitting for an angel card reading 45-minute long, all you need to do is sign up for my newsletter, and every month I select a winner for the free reading. So if you're interested, maybe you never had an angel reading before, just sign up on my website. The link is in the description. But yeah, as for the deck, these are actually, I mean, these are very nice messages. It's just that at the time when I bought it, I actually haven't used this deck much. I really wanted, you know, I was going for the pictures and I didn't see the pictures of the cards on, I think I bought it from Amazon or something, and I didn't have the pictures. And I was just reading Diana Cooper's books at the time, and I just wanted one of her decks. But yeah, I kind of need to go back to it. I'm glad that I'm doing this little review of my decks, because it actually reminds me of them now, because there are many that I just haven't been using at all for a long time. But I still want to use them. In my angel practice, I think these actually will come in handy very well. Now that I've gotten over my my need for illustrations, because I have so many other decks that have illustrations, I think this one will actually be very valuable to add to my practice and my readings. So there we go. Now the next deck I have is by Doreen Virtue. This I got as a present. This is one of the decks that I got as a present from my dear friend. Angel Therapy Oracle cards. Now I believe these cards are a part of Angel Therapy course that I think Doreen was running, or maybe it's still available to do. I don't really know, because I have sort of entered the world of divination cards after Doreen's change, let's say. So, but from what I understand, this is very much sort of a part of that. If you wanted to be certified or something as an angel therapy practitioner, I think, because these are really good cards. I don't use them often just because they're very specific, I feel. Like, again, being reacquainted with all of my angel decks would be a really good idea, because then I could create different types of readings depending on what the person is looking for. So it would be really worthwhile me getting all of these out, getting reacquainted. So although I don't know what the angel therapy course was teaching, you know, it doesn't mean I can't use these cards in other ways. But obviously, as you can see, it has a lot of keywords as to what the person might be drawn towards, like what your gifts might be, what your strengths are, stuff like that. And there are also chakras here, messages, you know. The way I kind of understand it, I maybe need to read a little bit more about it. If you know anything about the angel therapy, Doreen Virtue's angel therapy course, then please let me know. And if you have an idea of how to use these, or how they were meant to be used, these cards, just out of curiosity, I would like to find out. So yeah, so you would, you know, if you have an indigo card, what's your yeah, I don't know, I think I was reading something somewhere online a little bit about this, and I really like the gold edging, by the way. I think this is like the only deck that I have edged in anything, in any color, just because it came like this, basically. But yeah, if you have some information, I think I read a little bit online, and it was, you know, it can help you find out what your gifts are, what you're meant to be doing, or what your path is meant to be at this point in time. Actually, thinking about it now, I do have a reading like that, that I do through my angel card readings. And I think this deck would actually add a little bit more depth and a little bit more practical steps as to someone's career or life purpose reading. So there you go. I just answered my own question. Okay, next one is the Dragon Path Oracle cards by Caroline Mitchell. Now, it's been a long time since, not a long time, but it's taken me a long time, sorry, to decide on what dragon deck to buy, because I really wanted some dragon cards, but I just could not find one that really called for me until this one came out, and this is quite new, relatively new. And I think this is the first edition, and there will be more. Yes, so Caroline Mitchell 2020, see? I don't know, you can't see. I think it's a little bit, it's not sharp enough, but this is, yeah, so 2020. These cards were created, very fresh. And I think they're beautiful. I love the messages from the dragons. So Caroline Mitchell, she is known as the Dragon Lady. She has a lot of stuff, I think, workshops and stuff working with dragons. Dragon also Reiki, as far as I'm aware. So it was pretty cool that when I got these cards and I got familiar with Caroline Mitchell, I have afterwards attended Reiki certification, and it turned out that the lady that works with Caroline was my Reiki teacher, because Caroline is in UK. She's actually, I think from what I know, doesn't live far away from where I live in UK. So that was just a nice, cool coincidence. But yeah, I don't like dragons being depicted as our enemies in any of the other card decks. I actually, there was a deck that I had, because I have sold quite a few by now, because I ended up not using them at all. This dragon deck, by the way, I use a lot just for myself. I have one dragon card out every once in a while if I feel a specific dragon is working with me. And right now I have Gaia. So this card is out. It's been out for at least 6 months. But I feel like I'm still working with this energy. It's still present. So it's still out on my little altar, I suppose you could call it an altar, although it wasn't. It's like a little sanctuary space, magic space that I have. So yeah, I don't like the depictions of dragons being the enemies and baddies in our life. So there was a deck that I sold not long ago because I wasn't using it, but also because I just felt every time I looked at the card that said something about slaying your dragons, meaning like, you know, fighting with your fears and your nightmares or whatever. And I don't know, it just didn't sit right with me because I see dragons as completely benevolent beings that can help us actually. So anyway, moving on, Diana Cooper unicorn cards. So when it comes to like fairy deck, unicorn card, goddess deck, dragons, so in every little category I seem to have just one deck. I just decided to buy one. I was waiting for the one that was calling to me, and then I just buy that one, and then that's it. Mine is the angels, of course, because I do angel readings, and they have a lot of in a different way, so different readings in different ways, so I wanted different card decks. Anyway, so you have a little booklet here. It's quite short in like descriptions, you know, for each card, but it's really like, I really like it. I just really like it. It's just exactly, oh, and it also opens like this, so you can display a card, you know. You can use it for these cards or some other cards that you want to display. And yeah, I really like the messages. I can really feel the unicorn energy coming through when I worked with these cards. I don't work with them very often, and whenever I did, I find that I feel like I just want to work with them for myself as well. I haven't read much with those cards for others. This is maybe one only deck that I have with a little writing, but I wanted it that way, so it didn't bother me at all, because I just wanted to know what the message from the unicorns is. But yeah, I mean, these are very, you know, very high vibes, so like not super, actually I shouldn't say, I was gonna say not very down to earth, but actually that's not true. I need to just stop rambling, because you can see, you can have a card that just says call a friend today. But yeah, they're very short, very straightforward. And I think they're lovely. I really like the illustration. I mean, because there's so much I feel going on, and there should be there can be so many ways that you can look at the illustration and kind of find a different message each time when you read intuitively. And they are very emotive, I want to say. That's how I find them anyway. Look at this. How cute is this? With a little girl and the unicorn. I don't know. I love them. I do. And it's just a little box like this. Very easy to take out. Okay, so moving on, I next have Gypsy cards. So these are actually out of the box. I keep them in this little baggie, whatever it's called. But these are Gypsy Oracle cards that I bought from Los Carabeo. Just because I wanted some Gypsy cards. I wanted a deck of Gypsy cards. And these are, I love these cards. Again, I've only maybe once used them for kind of my weekly spirit messages, I think, which I do. I had a long break, but I've gone back on my channel and I do weekly spirit messages for each zodiac sign. So just check that out. Those are short readings. I don't spend too much time on them. It's just a message for the coming week if you just want to know overall what to focus on, what to remember, what spirit wants to tell you, and be so that you can be aware of that during the week, whatever happens within that week. But yeah, otherwise I just used them for myself a couple of times, and these are, I mean, these are gypsy cards, so they, you know, they're very very down to earth, very practical, very mundane almost, I would say, I suppose, messages, you know, which is very helpful. Sometimes you just need to know exactly how it is, right? They definitely don't have any lofty, fluffy messages for sure. But they're so accurate. Whenever I pull a card for myself, it's like, yep, that's exactly what's on my mind, or that's exactly how I'm feeling. And they have this, to me, very magical, you know, gypsy type energy. So yeah, I would like to learn a little bit more. You can have a book for this, by the way, although they came in this little tag box, but you can order a book separate. Maybe you can order them with the book. I don't know. The way I found them was just, and I always go for the little, I love any cards that are little and easy to shuffle. So that's always a winner for me. So I wanted the smaller version because I think Los Carabello has options. You can get like the bigger versions with books and stuff, and the cards are bigger as well. But I bought anyway, what I'm getting at is that I actually bought the guidebook as a ebook. So I still have the guidebook, just separate. Okay, so then I have Past Life Oracle cards by Dorian Virtue and Brian L. Weiss, sorry. Now this, I believe, as also one of my decks in the first part, is a copy, which I didn't realize. So I bought these with the Spirit Song Tarot in the same shop on the same day. A bit of an impulse buy. I was rushing. I wasn't really looking properly. Hang on. Can I take this out? And I didn't realize that these are copies. So there you go. It was not my intention to buy copies, but there you go. I don't really know if the originals are still going, if it has Doreen Virtue's name. I don't know. But anyway, this is to help you with readings on past lives. I actually haven't read with these yet for myself or anyone else, although I have done a past life reading, but it was slightly different, and it was as a practice reading, and I was just using normal tarot because you can use any cards really. But I think whenever I feel like there needs to be a specific reading when it comes to past lives or anything, then I would grab this one. But if you want an overall sort of energy and just, you know, then you can use any other cards. But yeah, I feel like these might be good for clarifiers. You know, if you have, because I feel like, you know, our past lives create a story that we probably repeated quite a lot of times. So it's sometimes not so important to know exactly what you did in one past life or two or three, right? Were you a Native American, for instance? Or were you a writer? Or some other, maybe you had some other creative pursuits and being a writer was just one of them. So you don't really need to know specifically if it was a writer that you were, if you were a writer in a past life or someone else who was working with creativity, right? So, but I guess if I wanted to put some more clarification on that, if I had a message about someone, let's say, working in creative pursuits mostly, and then we wanted to be like, okay, let's see what kind of creative pursuits, then I would probably get these cards out to give some more information. Or like, I don't know, looking into your gifts, maybe your strengths, what you're good at, if you're doubting yourself, because I mean, so many of us are doubting our skills, even though we might feel drawn to do something in particular, but we're like, oh, I don't know, there's some blockage, right? Don't know if I can do this or that, or if I should go for it. And past life reading can help with that. And these cards, I feel like, would be helpful. Okay, so the next deck is something that I bet no one else has. Maybe not no one else, but definitely not anyone on YouTube I saw. Because it's actually a very personal deck I found. So I bought this. This is Paula Mary's Future Card Readings, 32 individual reading cards. Paula runs the Psychic Clinic in the UK, and I have just found out about her through one of the interviews that I was listening on a podcast. She does psychic mediumship based healing, so she goes into mediumship trance to heal you, basically, of different physical and other ailments. She works with a doctor, if I remember correctly, with a doctor in spirit who helps her with that whilst you're going through a healing with Paula. Her spirit guide, who is a doctor, helps her to heal you, basically. Very fascinating stuff. And because I love cards, once I found out that she made some herself, I was like, well, I'm definitely getting those and I want to look at them, you know. So these are very simple cards. You only have them in the tag box. I do like the idea of the spread that she suggests, actually. So you lay, 5 cards, and you're like reading. So each card you read as almost like when you look at the cards, then a story unfolds, right? And then once you've read whole 5 cards, you ask your sitter or whoever you're reading for to choose another card and place it on top of card 1, and then followed by 4 more. So you keep, 1, 2, 3 again, and you keep stacking the cards on top of each other. And so that's how the story unfolds, more in depth, right? So whatever the person is asking, and it says continue until at least 15 cards have been read. So you can kind of unfold the whole story of the situation, whatever it is. So I really like that idea, and you can pretty much use it with any cards if you like. Right? Doesn't have to be this one, but I thought it's quite neat. And you can see they are quite simple. So it's well, it is plastic, isn't it? It definitely feels like it. But they are very personal, I feel, very private pictures that Paula has put on the cards. And then you have a little message. I haven't actually used them yet properly. I kind of tried to do a reading for myself, but to be honest, when I got them, but to be honest, I didn't actually have a question. So, that didn't help. You gotta know what you're asking about, or you gotta have a very clear, you gotta be really clear what you're asking about, basically, what you want to ask Spirit about for them to help you. So, which I didn't at the time. But yeah, I feel those, I think she actually said that. Those are basically just pictures, photos that Paula took of different things in her house or outside, because they're very specific. You can see private life kind of people that she included in her cards. Very, very personal deck, but she also sells these. Little Robin, you can't actually tell because this picture is quite dark. Oh, there's another one. Oh, I was just talking about dragons. But yeah, if you draw the dragon you feel in hell, there's traitor in your midst, take care. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of considering dragons to be, being in hell and stuff, but I don't know. I think I'll get over it when it comes to this deck in particular. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, I know dragons unfortunately have a very bad rep. But that's just what happens after centuries and centuries of specific beliefs and mindset, right? Anyway, So the next I have the Sacred Self-Care Oracle by Jill Pyle. So this one is quite known. I've seen people have it quite a bit on YouTube. So these are just practices and ideas for self-care that you can employ. And that's literally what I use it for. I mean, if I feel like someone needs to maybe employ some sort of a practice, I would only then pull this, oops. I would pull this deck and a card for them. And I love the art. I really like the pastel colors. Yeah, this is really, really pretty. Spend time with animals. Get a health checkup, right? Drink tea, very nice and simple advice, right? Right? Sometimes you just need to sit down and drink some tea, or watch a movie with your cat or a dog or any other furry friend that you have. And there are, of course, a bit more messages in the guidebook. Connect to your womb, soak in a bath. There you go. If you'd like me to do a review of any of the card decks that I have shown so far, then let me know. Sorry, I keep repeating myself, but you know, just so you don't forget. Okay, The Secret Language of Color Cards by Ina Segal. This is also quite popular from what I gather. And this is the only color deck that I have. And I was looking, you know, specifically for a deck with colors. I love working with colors. And so that's why I got it. So each color corresponds with our chakra. But there are also very nice exercises in the guidebook for each card. How to connect with this color and what it can help us with. What it might mean if you draw a certain card. And the colors are beautiful. Sometimes it's just, I mean, looking at these cards, they just improve my mood because the colors are so vibrant and there are so many tones for each color. Beautiful stuff. You even got a rainbow. I've been reading with those actually for quite a bit, but I haven't done so for a few months. Okay, then the next one is the little fairy dust cards, the little tiny cards. This is the only tiny card deck that I have, but I would like to get more of this kind of decks that just have a little, just a very short message, just as a, you know, as an extra message maybe for someone. I like them because I do actually like the whimsical rhymey messages from the fairies on this one. So, you know, they all rhyme, like this one: to make some wish magic, cast a spell, throw pennies into the wishing well. I like that because it brings some, I feel like it brings some softness, some fun to a reading. Now, obviously, if you really want to find out, I think sometimes the message can be quite straightforward, but sometimes, depending on the reading that you do, you might need to really, you know, incorporate it into the reading that you've just done, because it might feel random first time that you read these, but I don't find them random. Like I get it, basically. It's just a shame, I think, that they all have the very same art style. I wish there was some other fairies and maybe some different colors as well throughout the deck, but I mean, that's just me being very picky, I think. Otherwise, I still like it. The way ahead is clear and true. You've chosen the right path for you. There you go. I love these. These are like very nice confirmation, I think, messages, maybe at the end of the reading, a little pick-me-up message. I love fairies. I have another fairy deck, which I will get to actually pretty soon. But yeah, very nice and very cute deck. Okay, so next I have a deck that is in a little bag like this, because it actually doesn't have a box. It's an independent deck that I saw on someone's channel, and I really liked it. I really wanted one that just has a message of some sort and is very relatable and very modern. This is by Tiny Rituals. Ways to love yourself better. And I believe I bought it on Etsy. I think the creator is in New Zealand, I think. But it's really not expensive to buy and have it shipped. She doesn't send it in any box because, if I remember correctly, someone said of just being conscious, you know, why would we need extra packaging and stuff. Very eco-conscious. And to be honest, I mean, obviously, I want the cards to be looked after and I want the place for the guidebooks, but I'm not, very fussed about the boxes. If I could, I would be happy to keep all of them in little bags. So yeah, just little messages like this. Actually, because it's so inconspicuous, because it's quite small, and like it was kind of hiding behind my cards for a little while. I kind of forgot about it just recently, because I only used it a couple of times for myself, and I got twice the same message. So I was like, okay, I get it. Let's see. Actually, I'm not gonna take more time to show you which one it was, but yeah, that's as much as I use it. But I want to take it out and actually use it in my weekly live readings, by the way, that I do on my YouTube channel every Thursday. So recently I've been taking out a few decks, and then I ask my viewers that asked for a question which deck they would like me to read from, without knowing which deck they're choosing, right? So you would have to give me a number from 1 to 3, let's say if I have 3 decks. And then that's the one that I'll do a reading for you from. So there are 2 decks now here that I keep in this. One of them actually I don't think I have a box even for anymore. So apologies for that. But yeah, this is my go-to tarot deck. I love this deck because of how it was created, and also, I mean, the size makes it so much easier for me as well, because it's, so easy for me to hold. But this is the vice versa tarot, because it has a illustration at the back and the front, so you don't have backs as such, because each card has something else at the back. And I love that, because I am an intuitive reader, and although I have also learned tarot in a traditional way as to each meaning of the tarot card, I do like those that really spark my intuition and give me a look from a different perspective, basically, because it literally it can change the perspective of how you deliver the message. And I personally don't use reverse cards. So I think that's maybe almost like the substitution for that for me. So I can still have kind of a different meaning, slightly different perspective, but without it being upside down, basically, and kind of, yeah, I don't know, it's just not my thing. Because I can feel if the message is meant to be a bit more on the, let's call it, negative side than positive, without needing them to be upside down, I suppose. I don't know. I tried reading reverse cards, Sorry. So this is the Vice Versa Tarot published by Los Carabello. Yeah, I tried to read reverse cards, but I found that every time that I do that, they actually really throw me off from the reading and the messages that I was getting. So I just basically stopped, so my analytical mind doesn't come in and mess up stuff for me anymore. So this is my only Lenormand deck that I have kept, because I had a couple. I was learning Lenormand, and then I have sold off the other one, and I kept this one. This is Mystical Lenormand. This is my only Lenormand deck that I have, and I feel like it's enough because I don't necessarily consider myself a Lenormand reader, although I do use them for myself or others just as an extra message validation, clarification. If I want something super practical, down to earth steps, then I do reach out for it, and I can still read with Lenormand. But yeah, that's the only one that I have, and I'm keeping it together with my tarot just because they're all small, and I take them together whenever I was going for I was doing reading in the witches market for a little while in Glastonbury, UK, and I would just take them together because it's just easier to travel like this. Have them more accessible. Okay, so now we're moving on to cards that I actually bought on the witches market, and they were secondhand, so I don't have a box, but they came with the book, which I think is amazing, and a little pouch like this. So these are the Faeries Oracle by Brian Froud, and the text is by Jessica Macbeth. I have actually done a full review of those because I'm really impressed, and it's been a long time coming for me getting a fairy deck, because I've been searching and researching and looking and listening and watching people's videos on all kinds of fairy decks, and I just could never find one that I felt called for me until I saw this one when I was in the witches market, and so I never looked back. And I mean, the bonus was that it was secondhand, and so it was super low price. This was the card that was at the front, you know, in the bag when he was selling it, and I looked at this little fairy and I went, well, I'm definitely getting this deck. Look at this. Look how emotive. It's beautiful. But this is a deck that I really feel like I need to read the guidebook, as in I read the guidebook in the sense of introduction to the whole deck, but I haven't read each card meaning yet. You can definitely use it as an intuitive tool as well, and you know, when you're connecting with fairies, if you're open and you can receive messages from fairies, then of course you don't need the guidebook. But I do want to study it a little bit and learn a little bit more about them, because I feel I just kind of need to do that before I use them for others. I have done, I think, maybe a couple of readings for myself. Did I even, or was it just a practice? I can't remember. But yeah, I highly recommend, and I have done a review on my channel, so if you're interested in a bit more in depth on what the guidebook's like and how to use those cards and all that stuff, then just head over to that video. Okay, and last one, actually this is not really these are just plain playing cards. I don't know, I just wanted to show you because it counts towards my collection. But these are just what you call them, there's a name, standard playing cards that I have been learning how to do cartomancy, how to read cartomancy, or how to do cartomancy, I don't know. And these are actually have a sentimental value for me, because these are the cards that belonged to my grandfather, and after my grandfather's passing, when I went to visit my grandma, she handed them over to me. She said, would you like these cards? And I went, yes I would, because this is like the only thing I think that I kind of remember with my grandfather, we used to play cards. And so I kind of feel like they're quite magical in that sense. They have his essence, his energy carried with them, or maybe the memory of him, because I have cleansed them in that respect when it comes to like reading. There's even one more deck that I haven't even opened. It's still in plastic. And it's been like that for decades, literally. So yeah, and I feel like my grandma was prompted by my granddad to give me those cards, because it was very sort of unexpected and unusual and random that she suggested for me to take them, to be honest. We were looking for something else at the time, and they just popped out. So yeah, so that's it for my collection. This is part 3. If you have missed part 1 and part 2, then please, just go back and have a look at the other ones. And if you'd like me to do a review for any of the decks that you've seen, please let me know and I'll be happy to do so. Okay, bye!